Hi, Nicholas here with Zenith Design Build. I'm joined with Deb. This is her new kitchen. We just finished it about a week ago, and she has allowed us to come in, and she wants to talk about her story and how her experience was with working with Zenith throughout the project. So we're gonna have some wine.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So when we were talking through a bunch of different ideas and went through like your wants and needs, then we came back with a proposal with the price and then a bunch of different options that you guys could pick from.
Definitely.
So from there, you had the option to choose other contractors if you wanted to, or decide if you even liked the design we proposed. So at that point in time, why did you decide to work with us versus anyone else?
Well, we had seen some previous work of yours, and our house kind of fell in the same era, 1952, of what we'd seen your work. So we felt like we kind of, we wanted someone with that vision. And so we like supporting local contractors and stuff. So that's why when we filled out a little card at an open house of yours, I got a call from you 2 weeks later. Can we talk about your project? And away we went.
Nice. And so you've had other experience in the past with working with remodelers and whatnot.
Yes.
And so how was your experience with maybe another remodeler versus your experience with working with us? And what made you maybe not want to pursue another remodeler that you've used in the past versus?
I think time was, you promised to stay on track and, time-wise, keeping it, the progress of getting things done when you promised, and you did. And that was a big thing to us.
Good.
It was a big undertaking. Living without a kitchen.
Yeah, so. It usually is. So when we were working through that design process and working through kind of what options you want to go with and what you wanted to stay within your budget and whatnot, what made you pick some of the things you picked? Because we talked about doing some cherry cabinets or some wood cabinets, and then we gave you options for doing some acrylics, which you ended up choosing the white acrylic. And there are some other options with some appliances and some whatnot.
Well, we wanted a really clean look, and I would have never thought that I would choose white cabinets on the top and wood on the bottom. But I didn't want it all so sterile. So this warmed it up, and we love it. I mean, I do. It's exactly how we wanted it. Yeah. It's modern. It's clean lines and.
Yeah, and you were talking to Jen earlier today about she showed you some of your inspiration pictures, I believe, and it pretty much matches that, or very, very
she
close.
had me send her some ideas that I wanted the kitchen to look like, and she said we were spot on, and it's exactly how I envisioned it.
Good. So going to that design process, when going through the design and planning phase, how was your experience working through that process and bringing it? Before we started construction, actually getting everything moving forward. So actually, when we start construction, we're ready to go.
I met with Jen. We had everything picked out from appliances to the backsplash to, like the faucet. It took us half an hour. I mean, really. She kind of understood what I wanted, I think. So she had brought some ideas forward, and it wasn't a huge process. I mean, it really was.
And that's one of the things that we talked about that initially too, is really emphasizing the fact that we try to bring a few options to you based off of these inspiration pictures.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so that way that process isn't, we're not providing a bunch of books that like, hey, go through this, or a bunch of different vendors to go to. It's like, okay,
let's get overwhelmed.
Let's make this the least amount of overwhelming and give you what you want based off of what you see pictures with. And usually that makes for a much better process for our clients, and it doesn't drag it out so long.
It was done. We were like,
check.
It was great.
Yeah.
No, as soon as we knew that we wanted that door closed, gave us more, countertop room.
Yeah, so
it was great.
So just going through kind of the overview of this, so we made some changes, but what were some of the biggest things that we talked about initially? I mean, one being the doorway.
The door
being
here. Closed. Opening this up.
Which really does a good job of matching the opposite side. So it's a nice flow.
And you didn't move the sink from one side to the other, but you moved it down. You centered it, and you put the refrigerator down at the other end, which really works.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, some very, very small things,
Yeah.
just creating some symmetry between the pantry on one side, the fridge on the other, and making the sink in the middle.
And that's centered.
Yep, and then center.
Because it was way down there.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah, like a lot of small changes, but then obviously some bigger changes too.
Yeah.
The small changes.
Flooring.
Yeah, the flooring. Yeah, the flooring. So let's talk about the flooring then. So, the flooring, we did have about a day delay from the flooring, which we talked a little bit about, but just to try to get the stain match to be as perfect as possible. And are you okay? Were you okay with that?
Oh yeah, no, it turns out great.
Yeah.
It turned out great.
Yeah.
I mean, the flooring was probably the hardest part because you couldn't walk on it. You had to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But it turned out great. It really did. I'm glad that we took the time to get it right.
Me too. And then so let's kind of talk a little bit about the construction process. So we had a pre-construction meeting with myself, you, and Jim.
Right.
And then so after that, we got into the construction fairly quickly after that. How was your experience working through the construction phase with both myself and Jim?
No, your list, you did exactly what was on your list. Jim, they cleaned up at the end of the day, which I think anybody would appreciate.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everything was gutted, you know. I mean, and they cleaned up, they took it out, they hauled things away. I mean, that part is much appreciated when you're having to live in it. So, no, you kept your word. It was a good process.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And they were easy to work with.
Jim, I feel like he is a very, I'm a little biased, but he's a very, very good communicator. And I feel like that really helps with the process. And we did have I think one small hiccup in the beginning on how we were going to work with your exterior wall because it was so boogered up with the drywall. There was like a bunch of different layers and all messed up.
Yeah.
So we did have to work through a change order for that.
Yeah.
But what was your experience through the process of working through cost and any changes that happened?
Well, the one change order we had, we didn't know about till we tore everything apart, and it wasn't that huge of a item. I don't think it had to be done. Yeah. To make it safe and
then we insulated as well.
Yeah, insulate. There was no insulation.
Yep.
So, but that worked. I mean, no, that you're going to have some of those hiccups, but that was about the only thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So no, that process was easy.
Good. So talking a little bit more about cleanliness, you mentioned when we first got started, when we were in the planning phase, and I asked it, like, what are some of the most important things to you? You had mentioned a little bit about cleanliness. I think you talked about some drywallers from prior projects and whatnot. Yeah.
Snow.
Yeah. So how was your experience through us being cleanliness?
No, they always cleaned up. They had everything walled off with plastic, so to try to keep the dust down. But as they took up the flooring and everything, they cleaned up every night. It was clean, and I think for the most part it was good.
Yeah.
No, which I really appreciated.
And the drywall process was decently clean.
The drywall process was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually the messiest part of the job is the drywall process. But
they had to drywall quite a bit.
Yeah. So pretty much the entire.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we did everything. We even put skin coated ceiling.
Yeah.
So.
Ceiling looks great.
Yeah. So timeliness. So I know when we first started the job, we got started a little bit later, and we wanted to just making sure everything was in and picked out, and working with our schedules for other projects. And the one thing that you really wanted was getting it done for Thanksgiving. Yeah. So how was the timeliness of the project?
About a week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. About a week. Yeah.
No, we're fine.
Yeah.
Everything was in. It was ready to go. We had our walkthrough the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, nice.
Our final walkthrough.
Nice.
And everything was great. No.
Good. Yeah, there wasn't very much at the walkthrough.
No.
Which we tried to make that happen.
Yes. No, not at all. It was just a minor thing or two, and Jim took care of it, and it was great.
Nice. Talking about expectations, one thing that we really try to pride ourselves on is setting the right expectations from the beginning and actually following through with those expectations, or ultimately trying to see those expectations. So from our initial expectations we set, and then also the ones we set within the pre-construction meeting with Jim, how do you feel those expectations being met or being exceeded throughout the process?
Well, like I said, number one, keeping it clean, because I had to live here. And when Jim would tell me what things were happening that day, they were usually happening. I think we had maybe a couple days where somebody couldn't show up for some reason, or he communicated with me. I mean, the communication was great. No, it really was.
Good. So, so you want to talk about your disposal switch?
This is cool.
It's cool. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, it's super cool.
You want a demonstration?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
Okay.
show us how it works.
So you just push it. There's no switch on the wall or anything.
Yeah.
No.
So it's a little details matter,
Yeah.
you know, and it's so that's referred to as an air switch. So essentially,
Okay.
it just compresses the air and makes the switch. Very cool.
I like it.
Very simple, but very cool. What are some other like little details that you really appreciated throughout the project that were done, similar to the air switch? But what are some other details that you really liked that we took maybe to the next level, or maybe some things you didn't even know about that we did for you?
Well, like when they redid this opening, I wasn't expecting that to be redone because it updated the look of it. I have more of these than I expected.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Go ahead. Show us. Yeah.
So there's 3 plugins to each one.
Yep.
I love the waste paper can that is hidden. That's one of my favorite things.
I think you forgot about what was chosen.
Yeah.
So then
I did
you were wondering where you should put your waste can.
Yeah.
And then voila, it's there.
I love it. It's hidden. It doesn't have to be under the sink. It's not open. And the recycling is in behind it, which I recycle.
Nice.
So, no, I the hood. I mean, it's always fun to talk about.
Yeah, the hood's super cool. I didn't even know about that. Well, the light changing until afterwards. But
yeah. No, I can't find a lot of things that I don't like. There's nothing really. So.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kitchen.
And the microwave. It's quiet. It hardly makes a sound. So no.
Very nice.
Great. And opening this made a huge difference.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that is one of the things. And closing the door.
Yeah, was really makes a huge change. I mean, your previous kitchen, it kind of came out to this like
we had a peninsula
kind of in the middle of the kitchen, which you don't have room for peninsula in this kitchen.
And
I don't even know how it worked before.
And we didn't have the countertop refrigerator depth. We had one that stuck out like 6 inches, and so 2 people could not get past the peninsula and the refrigerator at the same time.
And then previously you had like a little closet in the corner, like a broom closet.
Now it's a pantry.
Now it's a pantry with some pull-outs. And so it's super.
These look good.
Yeah, it's very, very efficient. Good use of space.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
And then the poles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
It's minimal.
Yeah.
So.
It's like they're not even there, but they're there.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to the acrylics, they really blend in much.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine putting
Yeah,
regular poles.
big poles
Yeah,
and knobs.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, this flat panel cabinetry really is nice with these type of poles because you really can appreciate the flat panel.
Your designer did a good job.
Yeah. Din's great. Yeah, she did a great job. So, if a friend called you up and they're like, who do we use as a contractor?
Yeah.
Would you recommend Zenith?
Yes, I would.
What would
Definitely.
Why though? Why would you recommend that?
Well, I think it's been a good experience. I mean, you did exactly what we wanted. You were true to your contract. You explained it all. You sit down with us. We went over it. There was no guesswork in that, which is big. You know, and you know there was so much that we wanted to do when you first came. And then we decided to focus on the kitchen.
Yeah, we kind of honed down and said, what's the focus? Because we have a lot of clients that come to us too, and they're like, okay, we want to do this, and it's like, okay, well, let's really focus on one thing because
that helped.
We don't even know if we're gonna like working together.
Yeah,
you know, initially.
No.
So we want to make sure it's a good fit because then we can have this experience with the client that they actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
Because ultimately for us, it's creating the best experience you can for a client. Especially in a remodel situation because you're living through it, like you said. You know,
the cleanliness. It really closed off this house because it's less. You know, you just couldn't go everywhere.
Yeah, because this is a very your house is kind of like a circle. For as far as the access points.
No, I think for the era of the house, it's very modern, but yet we didn't go over the top modern.
Yeah. It's like mid-mod that kind of works well with older homes, but still is sleek and modern and.
So, I love it.
Nice. So we finished right before Thanksgiving, or actually a week prior, roughly. And then so you got a chance to be in the kitchen, entertain a little bit. How was your time entertaining, and being in the kitchen?
It was great because before, if I was cooking and everybody gathers in the kitchen, I would have to tell everybody to get out of the kitchen because I couldn't move. And now, I mean, I have pictures of 7, 8 people standing in the kitchen, you know, and we have all this counter space to prepare the food, and it was good. It was just more open. It flowed better. It was much better than what we had before.
Nice. What did the family and friends think?
Oh, they
like it?
They love it. It's like, ooh, what does this do?
Yeah.
Or, what's this made of? Or you know, no. The people that had seen it before are just they're just amazed that it could transform into this.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a transformation.
Yeah, and you mentioned that some people are like, "What is this? What are these guys?"
Yeah. What they're made out of.
And what are they then?
Acrylic. They're acrylic.
Yeah. They're cool. They introduced that modern element that you wanted, and and that was one of the design elements you guys decided to go with.
I have always wanted those.
Yep. Worth the upgrade, very very much so. I would say.
Yeah. Yes, I love it.
So I wanted to say thank you for the experience that we had with you. It was a pleasure working with you. Jim had fun too.
Yes.
he really enjoyed working with you, and it was a blast, and it's really enjoyable for us to actually make clients happy. I mean, that's our ultimate goal, is making sure that you have a good experience and that you love the product that we're putting in place, and ultimately loving it for like years to come, and enjoying it with family for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, which you've already enjoyed Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Christmas is to come. So cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.